is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
Hey, greetings. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soul Voices. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and thank you for joining me. Today is Saturday, November the 16th, and we've been gone. I'll gone last week, but we're back this week, and as we're approaching a lot of stuff going on in Star Citizen in our community, man, we've been testing 3.23, 0.2, 0.3, and now, as of today, 4.0 is in the EPTU for folks to try out. I think I'm still downloading. Yes, I still have probably another 25 gig to go. So maybe I'll get into it a little bit later, but I know a lot of people are excited about this opportunity to try out and test out 4.0. It's been a long time coming, and we're almost there. We're getting there. It'll be interesting to see the response and how the community responds to this patch as it comes out, as they get a chance to try it out. Of course, this is Wave 1. And as you guys know, Wave 1 is a very rough patch or update, I should say. So be patient. I know some people are trying to log in, having a little bit of difficulty even getting into the game, but Evocati has been working very hard. Special shout out to Evocati. All the people who give of their free time to do the hard work along with CIG, and they are like our ambassadors, I guess you could say. And there's a lot that's going into this new patch, and so yeah, let's see how this weekend goes. I know CIG said they wanted to get it out come hell or high water, and it looks like we're in both hell and high water. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Today's topic is called meshing up. As you guys know, one of the last hurdles that CIG has announced to us is their hurdle with dealing with server meshing. And there have been a lot of videos that other content creators have put out, a lot of information that CIG has put out, a lot of information even from people who are not necessarily Star Citizen backers, but have heard about what CIG is trying to do with server meshing. And I'm sure all of you know that there's been this conversation for quite a while about server meshing isn't new. Oh, it's been done before. And that's very true. Those statements are very, very true. But like all things, there's always a better way to do something. And CIG is working on what they consider a better way and a different way of doing server meshing. There are other games out there that are doing the same thing. Not Unreal Engine. Star Atlas is supposedly doing a form of server meshing. We recently heard that Ashes of Creation is doing a version of server meshing. And so to be able to accomplish what CIG wants to do, which is being able to have this ultra immersive universe that is incredibly ridiculous in scale, but also to scale it up so that you can have hundreds, if not thousands, of players playing in real time. Well, that's a little bit different, especially with all of the mechanics and things that CIG is trying to pull off. So they're trying to take on a monumental task. And there are a couple of great videos. I don't have the links for them right now, but I will make sure that I put them in the Discord, in the Soul Citizens Discord under videos. That people are talking about. These are industry engineers and network people who give a very almost better explanation of what it is that CIG is trying to do. And for those of you who might be interested and curious about the depth of what CIG is doing and why is it taking so long, hopefully it'll give you some answers. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. As I said, this week's topic is meshing up, and there's a lot of stuff that happened over this past week. So if you haven't been here before, Soul Voices is our one-on-one conversation where you get to come in and talk with me about the topics that I picked from Spectrum, from Reddit, from the gaming industry, from the Star Citizen community. And today we're going to take a little bit of all that. So I would love to hear from you guys. There will be a link that pops up in the chat. Feel free to use that link to come in. We'll put you in our Discord. We'll bring you in and you can kind of have a conversation with me. Give some shout outs to some folks here because I haven't done that in a little while. New Soul Sounds, Pops in Space, Morgoth, good to see you. 07, Lord of the Drip, good to see you as always. Howdy. Nick at Night. Hey, Nick, what's going on? Good to see you as well. Those of you guys know Nick at Night. Nick is one of the hardest working guys out there for pulling off Bar Citizens. They pulled off some great work while we were in Manchester. And it's good to see you, Nick. I hope you're doing well. Gladestone, what's up, brother? Subscribing 31 months. You've been here a long time, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. FC is here. He's here as well. All right. Who's that? I never say your name. You know, and I hate to say it. Serious Fun told me the pronunciation of it, and I have forgotten already. So it's Ryushian. I know I'm slaughtering it. I got to get that name right because every time it comes in, it frustrates me. Your name, not because it's in red, but it always stops me from saying it because I don't know how to pronounce it. I was like, close. Okay. All right. I'll take that for a little bit. And Vaverick, good to see you as well, my friend from down south. I hope you're doing well. All right, gang, let's jump into it. We've got some stuff to cover here. So let's go here. Boom. All right. And let's go into this very first one. I don't have links for this, but one of our friends to the Soul Citizens mentioned this to me the other day and said, Griff, have you seen all of the controversy over the Polaris? And I was like, controversy? I mean, last I heard, there was a lot of excitement. The Polaris was out. People were jumping into their Polarises. They were, trying to have these mock battles and all types of stuff. And he said, no, you need to go look at Spectrum and see what's going on. So I went to Spectrum, right? And when I got there, I started looking, and at first I didn't see anything. Then all of a sudden, I started seeing like all this stuff, and it was interesting. As you guys know, Spectrum is a place where people go to blow off steam, right? But it's there for people to give suggestions and ideas, and there were some people who did give some suggestions and ideas. But this is some of what I saw when I went out there. Okay, these are some of the things. But these were quotes. These are quotes off of the threads, okay? Polaris, cool ideas. Still one major flaw. Size 12 Razor Torpedo one-shots it. The next one was Polaris, easily killed by ramming damage. Ramming still not fixed? I'm not surprised. The next one, the Polaris was released too soon. Too soon. Another one said, CIG, if you release the Polaris as it looks now, you kill your game. But this is the one that really got me. Polaris, failed project. So I read these threads and I read what people were mentioning, and some of it is hyperbole, the over the top title to get people to read what they have to say, and some of it was legit things, But what was interesting was, were these things being written because they were trying to get people's attention, or were these things written because of the way people were feeling? And that's what I want to kind of throw to you guys. Wow, we got Star Jump Grim. Hey, Grim, I saw you were on today. Thank you so much for the raid of 42. I saw you out there dabbling in 4.0. Oh, you guys know our good friend Starjump Grim from Starjump Station. Thank you so much with Starlet and Ender. Thank you for sending your lovely folks over to be here with us. We appreciate that. Thank you for that raid. You're an awesome guy. Grim is such a great guy. He's a warm-hearted person. I got to meet him when I was in Columbus, Ohio. I went there for a con, and it was just so nice to see him. He was sitting behind his table. He was working all day, but I got a chance to hug him, got a chance to take a picture with him, and I'm hoping, Grim, next CitizenCon, bro, you got to be there. I know stuff has happened. I know life happens, okay? But this time, if it's in the States, brother, you got to either come down to Austin or you got to come up to Montreal. We got to hang out. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Next time you'll be there. Okay. I'm going to look for you. That's a promise. Okay. I'm going to half hold you to it just in case something happens, but I better definitely appreciate that. Anyway, back to the Polaris. So yeah, there was all this stuff about the Polaris and people, and all I had heard earlier was people were excited. Then all of a sudden I go to Spectrum and people were railing. I mean, some people were saying some really negative stuff. This project's a failure. It's a waste, blah, 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 blah. So here's my question to you guys. Do you feel that some of what people were saying about the Polaris, and not just the Polaris, because we could talk about some other ships like the Intrepid, some other ones, is it because these titles are there to get people's attention, or are people actually feeling this way? I mean, there's a lot of this last couple of weeks had a lot of emotion tied into them, especially here in the US. Is some of this that? Some people gave some constructive criticisms, but a lot of them were negative criticisms. Here's some constructive criticisms, for example. And the reason why I mention this is because this ship's in tier 0. We're just getting it. Not only are we just getting it, we got it to test it, to try it out. The lighting was an issue for some people, and understandably, some areas were dark, admittedly. Labeling of areas on the ship, because it's such a big ship. On the Idris, there are like great markings on there that say Med Bay, Torpedo Bay, whatever, blah, blah. This one, there were some doors that had it, some didn't. So, okay, I get it. But I saw one person say that the view was terrible out of the Polaris. I walked in the Polaris and said, holy smoke, they don't have the big bars going across the front. I thought the view was great. Okay. Some people, I mean, they were finding all types of things. And mind you, yeah, there needs to be some bugs fixed, and we get that. Captain's quarters, for example, wasn't available. And of course, if you've gotten that ship, the one place you want to go is to your captain's quarters. But they're going to do it, right? But my question to you guys is, how do you feel about some of this negative reaction to a ship that has been so well anticipated over a long period of time? I mean, people have been waiting 8 years almost for the 8 years for this thing. And man, the first week there's like boom, 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 boom. So let me bring some folks in. Let's get some thoughts and hear what you guys have to say. Pops in Space was first one in, so we'll bring him in. Pops, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I just think some people just want to get on a negative train, to be the first one to put something down, to be the first one to really bash something. Like you said, it's there for testing. I couldn't get in my captain's quarters. Some people, mirror was working. My mirror wasn't working.
Okay.
So and you're right, it does, because when I was going through, I got lost, and I'm like looking on the walls to see what door this was, and they're not
right
there. So I understand that. That's just well,
that's the whole point of getting it where we had it, right? To find things and tell things. But are these oversights things that are people feeling like, hey, CIG, you should have caught this? Do you think that CIG is saying, hey, let's just get this out here because we promised it and we know there's anticipation? I mean, as I don't own the Polaris, okay? I did get one in my hangar, like a lot of people did, I guess, and I walked through it. And first time I went on it, it was serious fun, and I walked through the shit. I was impressed by it, and I saw some things that I said, oh, it'd be nice if they did this, but my subconscious feeling was, oh, they'll get to it. That's how I felt when I saw it. I didn't feel like it was an oversight. I felt like it'll get here. As an owner, how did you feel when you first got in it, and then after you started walking around, how did you feel? Or even now, even if you've had it for a little while, how do you feel about it?
Oh wow, it's a great looking ship. It is enormous. Like I said, I got lost in it. As far as whether or not they put it out or shouldn't have put it out.
Uh-huh.
They should have put it out. I mean, they promised. John promised that he said it's going to be out.
Yeah.
Now he never promised that it was going to be fully, completely.
Well, no ship is
Yeah.
right. Okay, so no ship is, but we get it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, the Carrack is. I mean, the cartography deck and all that stuff isn't working. So I'm happy to have it.
Okay.
I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a Polaris owner, you feel you feel that they'll get to it. Is that how you feeling pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
All right, Pops. Thank you much, brother. All right, let me bring in Red. Red Bear 1 is here. Red, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
How about yourself?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, the Polaris, huh?
Yeah.
What me struck the most was how people were so negative that became toxic.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, like you have like some people pointed out the flaws and in a good way and how to suggest better.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the way how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are so negative that it's toxic, I think and I fear that people from CIG will even show less and talk about less or more vaguely. Because people say, like, yeah, well, they promised. For example, what if they had delayed the Polaris? People would say, see, they lied, and they get those posts.
Yes, you can't win.
You cannot lose. Yeah, you cannot win either way. I do have a few things what you just mentioned. I agree with, like the how they label things. It's always on the floor. It's kind of weird. I don't look at the floor. Maybe you do, but if they put it on the door or something or next to it, it will be fine. Further on, I think people were complaining about no windows. I mean, it's a warship.
Yeah, that's true. That was another one that came up. No windows. Yeah. And I get it. I get the people. I get the idea of people wanting to be able to look out, but I also get the idea of, like you said, it's a warship, right?
Yeah.
And even if you did, it would be very limited. One of the things that I think some people made a comparison to was on the Star Lancer.
Yeah.
They can close a blast door on there.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, that would have been a nice compromise. But even then, it's hard, it's a hard justification for me.
Yeah.
You
could make the similar like a submarine.
Yeah. Yes.
Does it have windows? I don't think so.
Yeah. You want to look outside and see the fish? Yeah.
There you go.
So, it's interesting. Yeah. But thank you. And by the way, guys, Red was the one that kind of enlightened me to this because I was oblivious to it. I've been playing Scum and I was elsewhere in my brain, and he told me about this. So, Red, thank you for letting me know about that. Gave me some content for this weekend. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Let me bring in Fist to Face. Fist, are you there?
Hey, Kevin and Griff.
Hey, buddy.
All right. You know what? Let me ask you a question. Let me ask Chad a question.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Because, all right, the Polaris and all of this stuff came with the bugs. Are we still playing this game as if it's a complete game, or are we playing it as an album?
I think that the problem is, to your point, absolutely, we're testing. I think that maybe there's such high expectation for this ship because, I think we haven't seen expectation. There's only 3 ships I've seen this type of expectation for. Right? I mean, I'm talking as far as in real life. One of them was the Carrack. The other one is the Polaris. And then the other one is the Banu Merchantman. The Kraken and stuff, I know people like that. It's way down the road. There's a little bit of expectation for the 600i, but we still didn't. All we saw was a few areas of it. We didn't see, we never saw what the touring version was going to look like. They showed us a little bit of the science version. You know what I mean? So, but these 3 ships in particular, people have really been having a certain anticipation with. And I think after seeing the Idris, right? I heard very little complaints about the Idris layout. Very little. As to this ship, this one caught complaints, and there may have been a subconscious comparing, because like when you go to the different rooms on the different decks on the Polaris, I mean on the Idris, they're labeled well. You know what I mean? They've got the name on the side, like Red said. You know, it'll say Med Bay, and there's signs above. And that might have put a certain level of expectations so that when people came into the Polaris, they were looking for some of those same things, maybe. And I'm just using that in relation to the signage, right? I don't remember hearing any complaints about lighting on the Idris, but we heard complaints about lighting on here. I don't remember there being any windows on the Idris, but we heard complaints about windows on here. So I'm just kind of wondering I'm not throwing any shade toward people who are finding things that they say, hey, can we do this or make it better? I think that's okay. But I think it's what Red said. It got kind of toxic. To say that the Polaris was a failed project, that's a huge, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother level of something's wrong with this ship, So to your point, I think that the expectation might have also overshadowed the fact that this is tier 0. It's still in PTU, right? It's not live yet. And I went on it the other day, and I saw that they already started making adjustments to the lighting on certain parts of the ship. Okay. Maybe they'll do other stuff. We saw the same thing happen with the M2. Remember when people complained, hey, there's no kitchen on here, but it's on this one. And they went and put a freaking kitchen in it, So maybe some of the things that people are highlighting, CIG might step up to and do. But I think it's just, I'm really kind of dealing with the tone, you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm getting at. It's like, it's just a lot of the tone that I'm kind of hearing is like, okay. Because like you pointed out, is again the frustration that to remind folks, like, are we testing, or are we looking at this as
finished product?
As a finished product. If it was a finished product, then I would would 100% would definitely be behind you in a sense of anger or frustration, but. This is like, but even to say this though, Griff, let's just say this real. I've played other games and less, with less things in it, where like, DC Universe, a new power set can come out, and in particular, that particular skill may not act right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So does that make it a failed power? Yeah, they fix it. They'll go back and they'll fix it and they'll look at it, whatever. So it's like, these things happen. They come up in the game and it's alpha. Yeah. I hear you. Okay. Good point. All right, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Thank you. All righty. Let me get Lord of the Drip in, and then we'll get on to our next one. LD, what's up?
Good afternoon, sir.
How you doing?
I'm living the dream.
Always.
And the dream began with the release of the Polaris. It's a ship that I was eagerly anticipating, and I think most people know that, I think I look at the game with a balanced, from both sides. There are times when I will levy criticism, but I think generally I'm a Polaris owner as well. But overwhelmingly, the majority of the people that I've spoken to have just been super excited about the Polaris. And, some of the complaints that you hear from people, I'm not going to say the people who are posting these negative posts, I don't know what they expect, because with a ship of this scale, like the very size, obviously the first time that you board a ship like that, you're not going to be super familiar with the layout. You're going to have to learn some things about the ship, get used to it, just like we all do. Yeah. The same thing was true when I first toured the Idris at Invictus. It was a little bit overwhelming almost. So, but now that, we've taken it out for a couple of runs, got some battles in, I mean, everybody that I have played with has really enjoyed this ship. And I mean, I just love it personally. So
it's funny that you say that. Excited. Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I don't own one, right? And I, usually I'm really like sure about which ships I feel like I want to have, which ones I want to work on, and which ones I want to, I want to own, whatever. And when I went on Serious Funds, and I came in through, he was out in space, so I flew in, I landed in the hangar, and he met me at the door. And as I walked around the ship, and he was just taking me around, I was impressed. I did feel it was a little. It had a slight bit of feeling of unfinished, but not enough to make me feel like, man, why didn't they do this? You know what I mean? I was looking at it as tier 0. We just got it. And I've seen plenty of ships where they've redone lighting, redone color stuff, and everything else. So in back of my mind, I guess that's why it didn't bother me. But as I walked on the ship, I became more and more impressed. And then once I walked it once, the layout made sense to me, how the hangar was the central point and everything else kind of wrapped around it. And then when I went in engineering, I was blown away, right?
Yeah.
The engineering thing just unexpectedly, that was the last. I wasn't expecting that to be the place that would impress me most. I thought maybe when I went to the torpedo area, I'd be impressed. But I went to engineering, I was like, oh my God, this is an engineer's dream back here, or an engineering team's dream, right? And then I went to the torpedo area, and I was like, this is what? So as I walked through the ship, and the last place I went to was the cockpit. And when I got there and I looked outside, we was out in space, and I looked outside, and there was a space station out ahead of us, and I could see it. I was like, this is incredible. And it's one of those rare times when I'm like, I actually sit there and say, maybe I should get one of these, but I didn't, right? But I thought the ship was impressive. Now, I'll tell you another criticism, Lord, that maybe I don't know if you saw this. I saw people criticizing the exterior of the ship. They thought that the outside design was bad. I thought the outside design of that ship was amazing. I walked around it I spawned it in the hangar, and I walked around, and I looked at that thing, and I said, look at the level of detail and focus and attention that they did to this thing. It's crazy. And there were people who were not happy with the exterior design. I don't know. So I don't know if it's a lot of emotion because people over 8 years formulated in their head what this ship is supposed to be, and then when it comes, it doesn't match that. I don't know. Maybe we're going to say, I'm sorry.
I was an engineer in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
The last ship that I served on was an LHD. So it's basically like a carrier, but a smaller version that carries Marines and stuff like that. It's amphibious vehicle. So when I was touring the Polaris, it gave me like the same vibes. It's the first ship that I had been on that gave me the same vibes. And engineering is what completed that. Obviously, we didn't have a submerged engineering yet, but just the layout of the ship, it almost felt as if they consulted, people who've been in like real Navy ships, large Navy ships, and brought a little bit of that to the design, of the ship. A lot of the things make sense to me as far as the layout. So maybe that kind of colored it for me, but like I said, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Really enjoy the ship. Can't wait for it to be, completely finished and released into the PU.
Yeah. I do understand some comparisons that people might make, because it's difficult, because once we've seen something in one ship, we often want that thing in our, in the other ship, right? One of the areas I know people complained about, and it did look bare to me, but I kept thinking maybe there'll be something more. And that was like the med bay. I thought it was very cool. It had 4 beds, 2 sides, the reception station here at the check-in area. But I was also a little bit curious about like what more were they going to put in that area, and maybe they won't. But it was sufficient for what it is. It was sufficient. Some people complained that there was no. And guys, I get it. I do get it to a degree that there was no recreation area, right? And my understanding is that CIG is going to make things that we can install things in our ships, like how we can put chairs down. You'll be able to put a pool table down or something. Those will be things we'll manufacture and we'll be able to do. At least that's the impression I got. I could be wrong. But one of the things somebody complained about was about the bedroom space. And I wasn't in the military, but every military sea vessel, whatever I've seen, they don't put a lot of priority in your sleeping space. It's like,
no,
because you're working, you only go in there to sleep and that's it. You don't even go there maybe to read a book, maybe. I don't know. But but when I saw that and they compared it to another ship and it was a different type of ship, and I was like, I don't think that's it. So I don't know if it's that people just kind of over time picture what they really want their ship to be. And then when it comes out and if it doesn't deliver that, then maybe that's why they feel the way they do. I don't know. But congratulations to you guys that own Polaris. I think it's an amazing ship personally, and I hope they continue to enhance it and make it better for you guys too. Pretty good stuff. All right, Lord, thank you very much for coming by, bro. All righty. Okay. Thank you guys. Great. I saw a lot of great comments in here that people were saying all they need to change and us the Starlancer Max. Okay. They're hard to figure out their ship design and balancing. I think something like that could be balanced design decision. Yes, Cypress, that is a good point. That is a good point. That's one of the tough things, right? Because we don't know the whole plan, for lack of a better term, of what CIG wants these ships to be able to do. And so it's very difficult. And we're going to talk about this because part of our conversation today about meshing up is also about balancing. And, you know, did CIG mess up when they made this ship? I don't think they messed up. I think there's some things that they just can improve upon. It's our first, other than dealing with like the 890 jump, first really big capital that's like been given to the owners, even though we've been on the Idris. And so I think it's going to be okay. I think that they're going to continue to do things to improve and make it better. Just give some good criticisms and good comments and share that with the developers. Okay. Trying to read a couple other things here. I agree. They probably said, yeah, okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I see some stuff about the Starlancer Max here too. Okay. All right. Let's go on to this next topic here because we're at the bottom of the hour. Yeah, this was an interesting one. Point defense systems, point defense cannons, PDCs. This was from Teufelaffe. He says, PDCs aren't overtuned. You're just mad you can't solo capital ships in your Eclipse or your Tali anymore. Capital ships are supposed to be hard targets that require coordination between fighters and bombers to take them down. Yes, even the 890J, aka jump. Maybe you guys will know about this. Those of you who've been out there doing things against the Polaris recently, I got a chance to watch Morphologis's video a couple days ago where he did his review on the Polaris. And I had heard, even though I don't own a Polaris, that there was a great point defense system on there. It never clicked in my head until after someone mentioned it to me. I said, wait a minute, I think they did say there would be one. Anyway, in his video, I got to see the thing. The ship was lit like a Christmas tree. And then Cameral had put out a video earlier this week on the 890 Jump's point defense system. Now, when I bought the 890 Jump, I remember that it was supposed to have a point defense system. And I've had these conversations with other friends of mine about it over the years. And, you know, we never had it on there. And it's like, well, they'll get to it. And lo and behold, unexpectedly, they dropped the 890 Jump with the point defense system in. And Cameral did some tests with it, launching size 9s, size 10s, and some rattlers, and the ship was able to defend itself. So my question to you guys is, how do you feel about that? Now, mind you, let me put the waiver in now. This is tier 0. It does not mean it's balanced. What it does say is that here's the mechanic. We've worked on it, and we're ready to start putting it in. And, you know, my question to you is, when ships like the Polaris, ships like the 890 Jump, having these systems in them, how do you feel? Do you feel like it helps create balance? It makes them OP. They'll probably, you know, nerf this stuff so it's not effective. You know, you guys come in, give me your thoughts on that. Okay. Let me bring in Pops again. I'll bring him in. Hey, Pops, you there?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I am.
Uh-huh.
I think it's great. And, you know, one thing before I really go into that, there's an underbelly to the ship that has no point defense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not it's not invulnerable. It doesn't make it, you know, but a capital ship should be hard to take down. You know, you shouldn't be able to go in and get in an arrow and take down a capital ship anymore.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
So do you think to the author's point here, do you think it's because people have been used to doing it, and so now that they can't, you know, do they see this as a you know, it's either there's one of two things: either people say something's OP or it's nerfed, right? So
yeah,
since they're Eclipse and the Retaliator, nothing changed, but what changed is the Polaris or the 890. We move the responsibility from that ship to the other ship and say, well, it's OP. Do you think that's the case or no?
Well, I don't think it's OP'd. I think it is something that we have them on modern day ships nowadays.
Okay.
So you know, what is the game? 500-600 years in the future? What is it?
900.
But so 900.
Uh-huh.
So it makes sense.
Okay.
To have them. I don't know. I just think some people, Disco says, and he's absolutely right. This is game development, and sometimes it takes them a little bit to get the tech, put in the tech, allow us to test the tech, and I think some people just get bent out of shape when something was a certain way, and then
It
they
changes.
add what they were They add what they were supposed to have from the beginning. People are like, oh my goodness, now this is this and this is that. All your capital ships are probably going to get them.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, Pops.
I'm happy. I'm excited for them.
Okay, thanks, Pops.
Okay.
All right, let me bring in Red Bear next. Red.
Yes.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah, about the PDS system on the capital ship, I think that's warranted. I want to go back a bit to the hammerhead, because the role of the hammerhead is to intercept fighters, missiles, torpedoes, and all. So I hope they fine-tune that ship a little bit more. I don't have a hammerhead, but I think if they design a ship specifically for this role, they should tune it only for that, to kill fighters and torpedoes and missiles.
Let's go with that scenario. Let's go with that scenario, because you picked a good scenario to use for an example. In the case of a Polaris, the Hammerhead would be one of those ships that escorted it, right? Or any other large capital, right? For that purpose. Because what the enemy will try to do, first of all, is try to take down any of the PDCs, take down any of the turret areas and things of that nature. The small fighters, that's what they're going to try to come in and do, right? So because we do want to be able to soften up the ship or take down shields so that now we can launch a size 9, size 10 into the ship. So I'm glad you're saying that people have to understand that this is all a part of the moving beyond the solo play, but the cooperative play, right? So that when these ships go out, you have other ships there to protect them, to offset things. And then the enemy has to change their strategy, right? Maybe we can't fire from 10 kilometers or 12 kilometers out until somebody lets us know that the PDCs are down, right? Or the whatever is down, right? There you go. Okay.
Yeah, that was the whole thinking of me, that you have like special ships that are specialized in, for example, in this case, protecting against fighters and missiles and all, can do their job.
Yes.
I mean, the PDS, I'm not sure if they are in between or not. They kind of feel a bit glued on. I like the system. I'm not sure why people call them PDCs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they are clearly called the SFO system.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Point defense. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll be like, okay, I don't own any warships that would have this system, but I do have touring ships that have them.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, if we go back and look at the old 890 jump commercial or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
The idea is that these are defensive weapons, right?
Yeah.
They're designed so that if my pilot is in the 890 and we realize that there's someone coming to give us a hard time, those cannons buy us time to, quantum ready, get ready, find a place to jump and go. They don't completely make the ship invulnerable, right? If someone strategizes and comes in the right way, because one of the examples on Kamaral's video was those larger torps were the ones that were, and they move slower. They were able to target them, but the Rattlers, the way they fire and shoot off multiple missiles, some of them got through. Right.
Yeah.
So again, there's still some tuning, and believe me, guys, I won't be mad if they pull them back. I won't be. I just want something that helps equal the playing field a little bit more. Right. My 890 is not there to have a battle with your whatever. It's there to do touring, or it's there to transport somebody and to do it safely. And my clients don't want to be in the middle of a battle either, if you know what I mean. So, my idea is to be able to leave, to be able to get away. But there may be those times where that doesn't happen. right? Someone could come in and quantum interdict me. And guess what? That PDS did nothing for me at that point, you know.
No, but the other ships that are built for it, you should be able to do it. Also, if you have like more people in your ship, it should be some significant threat builder.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you're like with 3, 4, 5 more people, then the ship should be more powerful than like 5, 6 fighters.
Absolutely. By the way, Zombie Pig answered your question. He said PDC means point defense and champagning.
I have no clue what that means, but thanks.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right. Last but not least, let's bring in Fist to Face today. Hey, he's back.
All right. So my thing is this. Okay. First off, I'm trying to figure out why people are saying that it's overtuned. I mean,
I think it's because they probably fired all their missiles and none of them got through.
None of them got through.
On Kamaral's video, he literally shoots 8 torpedoes and none of them get through. None of them.
Okay.
And so there might be some people who figure, man, maybe 1 or 2. Like, do you remember when we had that? Were you with us when we had the big Idris battle?
Yeah, I was with.
You remember that, right? We shot out like about what 30 torps? Was it like 30 size 9s? And only maybe 2 of them, maybe only 2 of them or 3 of them got through.
She was going to work.
And we were moaning.
Was taking them down.
And we were moaning because it was costing us 40,000 every time we had to go back and reload, right? So now you've got people who are shooting torps that are 500,000, 750,000, and they're shooting like 8 of them, 5 of them, and that's like 6 million. You know what I mean? 5 million gone.
So to the point I was going to make was like, it's like, all right, for those people who, it kind of goes back to when torps were able to hit something, right? Without without little to no resistance on the Idris. It kind of goes back to like, those games, I guess you call them gotcha games or whatever. And they have like, like when you're fighting the boss, you see the big crit numbers is like for like 100K, 1,000, right? And then you go to another game and you get a crit for 890, right? Which one makes you feel like you're doing more?
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
True. To your point, our battle with the Idris back in the day, Captain Jones has talked about how he used to go out and solo an Idris in no time flat, right? The last time we had that battle with the Idris, it took about 5.5 hours before we finally took the thing down. Some of us actually left after 3 hours, right? We say, I'll see you guys later. I'm broke, and then I think there was a few more people who hung around for another 2 hours, and they finally were able to take the Idris. It took a long time. Here's some things that you might remember the CIG said. One of the things that Chris Roberts said a long time ago was that people who have ships, this is whether you're using in-game money or real money. If you have a ship that's over $1,000, that those ships are not going to be easy takedowns, right? Because there's a value factor, right? One of the things that I've said this story before in Eve, I used to hate in Eve. I would have an Orca or one of my big mining ships that may have cost me millions, to buy. And I have it loaded with millions of stuff. And then someone will show up with a ship that costs thousands and wipe me out in no time flat. And I felt that there was an inequity there because I had no bounce. And mind you, I will admit, there were times when I was out there solo and I was taking a risk. But I didn't have any way to compensate for that. And it's because their bounty system was broken. There was nothing I could do. If I wanted to take the risk, I had nothing to repercussion for the repercussions from it. And that's a different scenario. But I guess my point is that if you're going to go after a ship that costs millions in game, then that means that the force that pushes against it needs to be a really substantial force, right? It can't just be one Eclipse who fires from 12 out, which we saw happen. Remember who was doing the touring with the 890 thing with the people on it? Remember they were trying to do the social event? And but you remember what I'm talking about? And they fired a size 12 torp from way out, and it got past the people and it took the ship out, one hit, right? And I'm looking at value, right? I mean, yeah, look at what happened. I think there has to be, now mind you, there should be some danger. There should be There could be a 1 in whatever chance that torpedo gets through. That's fine. But it shouldn't be, 99 out of 100 times the torpedo gets through, right? I'll take a 50-50. Right. I'll take a 50-50. Really, I will, But thank you, Pops, the experience. Thank you. But I think that some of it goes back to what you were saying earlier about people get used to how the game is played, and then when something, or Pops was saying it, when things change, they don't realize that it's changing into what it was mentioned to be a long time ago. Yeah, exactly. A long time ago. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So are you looking for this type of system to be on other capital ships or just certain ships for you, for capitals?
I think this should be on all capital ships. I mean, it's a big target. Okay. It's a big, capital ships have no way of running.
Is this a way to offset the idea of having a fully crewed ship? And I'm not saying completely. Okay. But is it a way to help with that?
I think that those particular guns or whatever need to be positioned. Obviously, every ship needs to have a weakness. Like I said, the Polaris has an underbelly where it doesn't have one. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So maybe if you line up your torp, your shot to that underbelly, and he can't turn his ship around, to get to it in time, then there you go. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Can somebody confirm? Because I thought, and I could be wrong, I thought that they said that there are some on top and bottom, but I might be mixing it up with the 890. I might be mixing it up with the 890. Can anybody confirm? Okay, Captain Jones says yes. Okay. Yeah, and again, I'm not saying let's use point defense systems as another version of what do we call it? What do we call those things? Blades. I'm not saying that. Blades, I'm just saying for a ship of that scale, does that help balance a little bit more? Because even if you've got, like, let's say you've got 6 turrets or 8 turrets, right? By having the PDSs on there, that might balance it a little bit more. You know what I mean? To make sure that there's a good battle. In other words, there's a good battle. Not about losing. I'm talking about since you have a good battle, right?
Well, let's look at it like this. Why are we looking at it from a point of view like we always got to shoot the torps first? Because we have to come and we got to think about it. Okay, why not have what your ions and your infernos are supposed to do is come in, and then
soften up stuff. Things off. Soften the place up, right?
Soften them up, shoot them off, and then now you come in with your torp. So it's more strategic than anything,
right? And we haven't been playing that way, right? I mean, in general, we haven't been playing that way. I don't want PDSs to eliminate any possibilities. I just want to make sure that whatever CIG does, whether it's on the the attacker or the defender, that they create enough balance that there are good battles there, right? And that if we lose a battle, it's not because a player feels like, well, this is OP or this is nerfed, right? But that there was some decision made by a captain or pilot that was the factor, right? Not the game mechanic. Right. That's what I would hope that we would get toward, is that. And I mean, it's going to take time to get there, but that's what I would hope that they come up with in the end. Okay. All right, buddy. Thank you much. All right. Oh, last but not least, the one and the only Sir Togi. Hey, Togi, how are you?
What up?
How are you?
So I'm coming in here with, I think, the one thing that people are forgetting with PDSs.
Okay.
And that's that it's a completely passive system. It does not require, as far as I know, any player input. Right? And I think that that's a design flaw on CIG's part. And I get this is tier 1. There's going to be some compromise in how it works. But going forward, I would like to see PDSs or PDCs relegated to an operator seat.
Yeah.
And that operator has to adjust target priority.
Yeah.
That targeting and everything is passive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're in that, that Polaris solo, you're going to get torped to death.
That makes sense. Or, you suggested something before when we were talking about the AI blades conversation. Could they also set up a system that says that if you activate PDS, it pulls or draws on something else, or it's related to power, something that doesn't allow it to just automate completely?
To power.
Yeah, but I'm saying
and
something.
that's fine. But I'm saying that, like, if you want it to shoot down torps, it shoots down torps.
Okay.
And then if you want to switch to, okay, I need fighter protection, that's something that someone has to actively do.
Yeah.
And you're actively, and you should have access to that.
Yeah.
To that map, to your radar,
right,
and be able to select individual targets and say, hey, I want you to focus on that, ignore everything else.
Yeah,
like it should be a thing somebody does.
It does. See, I don't want it to go that far. I agree with you about the passive side. I don't want it to be able to do with ships.
Again, it's not about whether or not a military would do it. It's about whether or not it's good gameplay.
Yeah,
this isn't a mil sim.
Yeah, and to your point, I don't have a problem with it only being focused on. I don't want it to be used on ships, to be honest with you. I'd rather it be, again, defense system. I want it to be where it is tied into some aspect of the resource of the ship. In other words, if this thing starts really firing, like really firing, like, first of all, I want to be able to activate it versus it just coming on. Secondly, I want it to be where if it's firing and it's drawing on the ship, and I'm, if I'm letting it do that, then there's some other areas that might be getting impacted with power. I don't know what that might be, but I'm saying I want the whole system to be tied in together. I don't mind the passiveness of it, but if it's completely passive, it needs to have impact on the ship in some other place. Otherwise, to your point, an operator would be cool. Somebody who comes in and activates it and says, hey, this is, we're going to do this. But I don't know if I wanted to be messing with ships personally, because then I worry about turrets at that point. I wanted to. Yeah, that's just me. I mean, that's just me. But I get what you're saying. Use an example.
Especially with like target prioritization. Like, I think that'd be really, because again, like rattlers. Yeah. Like, I think that PDCs without an operator would just shoot down whatever the closest missile is. So rattlers could overwhelm PDCs and allow torps to get through because it's just trying to shoot what's closest. Yeah. And I think that would be really fun gameplay.
That would be cool. I agree.
You'd be like, hey, this is the Tali. These are the Eclipses. I want you to focus on anything that comes out of those. Everybody else ignore.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I think that's a great suggestion. All righty. Thank you, Togi. Appreciate you. All righty. Okie dokie, y'all. Good stuff. I have yet to go and see us actioning on a ship. I've just seen videos. So I am excited to go see what happens. And I know there are going to be plenty of people out there testing. And I'm curious, to Togi's point, I want to see someone when they overwhelm a ship. Like literally where the ship just cannot keep up, on the video that I watched, like I said, the Rattlers got through, the larger ones didn't. But again, that was a single ship to single ship scenario. And I definitely think that, when we start getting into these larger ships, and we've talked about this before, they will have escorts, other ships with them that will help, their point of defending will be much different. It won't be just as simple as just firing a torpedo at a ship. We'll have to work collaboratively and collectively to take down these big ships. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. I have not watched any of the videos. I heard there are tons of videos out there right now. Polaris versus Polaris videos. I have to see what those look like. But I am curious to see whether or not people have actually tried to put fleets together with Polarises. And I'm sure somebody has by now. So, okay. Good stuff. All right. What time is it? Okay. Let's get ready to do our commercial break. Thank you, guys. I see there's a lot of good chats going on in here. I was trying to read everything in here. There's a lot of stuff in here. But thank you guys for that. Let's go ahead and take our commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to pick up a topic for you guys that I hope we have time to talk about. So I hope you guys will just stick around for that. And we'll be right back. Okie dokie. If you are here, thank you for being here. I appreciate you as always. We are today getting ready for IAE. I hope you guys are ready for it. As you guys know, I mentioned earlier, 4.0 is in the EPTU. A lot of us are downloading it. Looks like my computer is still downloading or almost done downloading it. Oh my God. Let's see. It's verified. I'm on my last 500 meg. Look at that. I'm almost done. I'm down to 400 meg. Okay. So maybe I got it and I'll be able to try it out a little bit later today. But again, thank you guys for being here with us. Tomorrow, we're going to be finishing up our last of our viewings from CitizenCon, session 6 and 7, Masters of the Ships or whatever it's called. And then the final one that CIG showed us on that very last session that kind of blew everybody's mind. So hopefully you guys will be able to come by tomorrow and join us for that. We're looking forward to having a really good show for that. Okay. Alrighty. And welcome back, everybody. It looks like boy, this thing is really trying to get down. I just finished my verify. It is really pushing to try to do this. Anyway, it took a long time for me to download this thing. I know people have been having issues. Installation error, got right to the end. I guess I caught it too, guys. Anyway, I'll deal with that later on. I hope you guys are doing okay. Thank you guys for being here today, as always. Once again, to Star Jump Grim, thank you for the raid earlier. Those of you who stuck around, we appreciate you guys being here. Let's go ahead and get ready to jump into this next topic. Now, this next topic, as I told you guys, normally we talk about something from Spectrum and Reddit, which we did today, because that second thing was from Reddit. But this one we're going to talk about is talking about the industry. And I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this. This is a topic called wising up or dumbing down. Okay, wising up or dumbing down. And this is in relation to technology and how things are going in our world. Now, for those of you who know, I'm over 60, I'm 61. And, I can have a very dinosaurish attitude towards some things. I'll admit that. I have no problem admitting it. But I'm also a geek and I'm a tech person. And I love seeing technology push us forward and seeing technology work to make life better for people. I've also seen technology do some horrible things to people too. And it's not technology, right? It's the people behind it when it all comes down to it in the end. Technology has done some things like freed people up from industries where people were taking injuries, getting hurt. People were getting sicknesses. Technology is now in hospitals helping people to manage health, doing a lot of things. These robots I've seen are amazing. I mean, I've seen some really amazing stuff. When I was in London at the airport, I was watching as one of the little drone cleaning machines was going around, and there were people walking around, and it was busy at Heathrow, and this thing was just moving around, and when people would come, it would stop, it would let them go by. I know this is like real rudimentary. It's not like your Roomba at home, but it was amazing to watch this technology and watch this thing just kind of, and people were, the other thing that was interesting was that people didn't seem to be like shocked by it. We've gotten to this place now where things like that are happening in our life and in our world, and it's become a part of us. And so the wonder that we used to have, or the curiosity, or the uncertainty about it is diminishing, right? It's just become a part of us, and it's a normal thing now. And so in which areas are you a dinosaur? Thanks, Karsten. I'm trying not to be a dinosaur up here. How's that? I'm really trying. My body is starting to feel like a dinosaur, but my head, I'm trying to keep my brain together. So my question to you, and this is you can put this question in your back pocket for a few minutes, put it on the back burner, because I'm going to show you some stuff. And then I'm going to challenge you to come in and give me your thoughts. We're going to talk about knowledge and wisdom a little bit, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Okay. So some of you heard probably already, I'm sure you have, this week there was a story of a student who basically got told off by their AI. I haven't had a chance to look deeply into this, but I'm going to show you a little bit of the thing. Yeah, you know what, Matt Style, before I get into this, Matt Style said, yeah, I've gotten used to seeing these food delivery bots speeding down the sidewalks in parts of LA. This is no joke, Matt Style. I've watched people, and this is horrible. I laugh, but it's terrible. Like those delivery bots that go down the street and they'll kick them over. Now, some of them will kick them over because they try to rob them, right? And take the stuff off of them. But then I've seen people who just, for the heck of it, and it's funny because those of us who watch science fiction and watched how, science fiction movies, how we've depicted human and AI relations, right? There are some times where we embrace it. There are times when we demean it. There are times when we made it our slaves. And then there's this dark thing about this stuff uprising against us, right? But look at what people are doing to it. This thing's just trying to deliver some food to somebody, and the guy comes down the street and kicks it over, right? It's interesting, right? It's really interesting to see how human, not nature, but what about us, how we respond to this stuff. Okay, so let me show you the news clip first, okay? And then I'm going to show you a couple other clips after that. So let's take a look at the news clip, okay?
A grad student in the US state of Michigan has said he was thoroughly freaked out after being threatened by an AI chatbot which told him, "You're a stain on the universe, please die." Google's Gemini chatbot, according to the company, is designed to help with writing, brainstorming and learning, a rival to ChatGPT. In the full exchange, which is now posted online, the student was asking the bot about the challenges and solutions for ageing adults. The conversation is fairly mundane until the student asks the bot about the number of children living in a grandparent-headed household, and things take quite a turn. It responds, "This is for you, human, you and only you. You are not special, you are not important, and you are not needed." It then goes further, concluding with, "Please die, please." For its part, Google is claiming it's a misunderstanding, telling CBS large language models can sometimes respond with nonsensical responses, and this is an example of that. They say they've now put in measures to stop it from happening again, but we can't say we weren't warned.
Sorry, guys. I had my audio muted. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'm sitting here reading. I said I'm just going to go back and read this again. This is for you, human. You and only you. You are not special. You are not important, and you are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die. Okay. Now, mind you, this is verified. This isn't made up. The person had the whole, their whole screen. Because when you use the AI thing, it gives you everything there, and they posted it and published it. Okay. So, am I still muted? Hopefully, I'm not. Okay. All right. So, yes, Matt's Tali, yes, yeah, kind of true. Okay. So, but this isn't really what I want to focus on. Okay. This isn't really what I want to focus on, because this could just be an anomaly, right? The fact is that you guys know that chatbots and things of that nature, they basically take input, bring that input back together, and depending on what people put in, it tries to formulate things. It is not necessarily complete artificial intelligence in the truest sense of the form. It is a means or a way of doing a form of artificial intelligence. Okay, but we do know that artificial intelligence is expanding and growing to the point where there's what we would consider self-awareness. And so this could have very easily been inputted in such a way or done in such a way that over time it would say this. Now, to the newscaster's point, we've been warned, right? Okay. And what's that warning mean? Does it mean that we have to be careful about what these units put out to us in the sense of the information? Because it may not have been just even a personal attack. It could be even just bad information that's given out, and the person assumes that information is correct, right? It doesn't have to be like it's an attack on humanity per se, okay? But it is interesting to see this. But as I mentioned, this isn't the focal point that I want to talk about. I want to talk about this because I want to introduce this next segment that talks about how we use technology, and then I'll give you the question behind it. So I want you to watch this first video. This is from Ray-Ban about their new glasses that they have out. Okay, so here we go.
Listen to music without muting the world around you. Live stream your creations from your POV. Take calls without interrupting your flow. Capture your unique perspective in an instant, straight from your glasses. The next generation of smart glasses by Ray-Ban and Meta.
All right, so that's the product, right? These Ray-Ban glasses, and you can listen to your music. You can record video and show, record videos if you're doing something from your point of view. You can actually record things, live stream back and forth. Okay, so that's it. So that's a bit of what I want to show you. Now I'm going to show you the next part. Okay, so check this out.
Hey, Meta, remind me who's on my guest list.
Here's who's on your guest list. Tinashe.
It's about to go up.
Hey, Meta, which of these shots should I take?
You could try to hit the yellow ball. James Blake.
JVZ, I'm overseas.
Hey, Meta, which of these shots should I take?
Hey, yo, James! What are you doing? What are you doing?
The Free Nationals.
Mo better, Callum, Jose, come on, it's a party, baby.
Hey, Meta, which of these shots should I take?
Yes, Lord.
Hey, Meta, which of these shots should I take?
Okay. I was muted. Okay, there we go. All right. So I got a couple people already in the chat thing, right? So here's my question to you guys. Okay. Cool, right? The glasses are cool. No question about that. Very, very cool. But there were two things in that video that messed my head up. There were two of them in particular. Okay. I'm going to bring in, let's see. I don't know who was here first. I think Red might have been here first. I'm going to bring in Red, and then I'm going to bring in Fist to Face. And I'm going to see if they can figure out what the two things were that messed with my head. Okay. Okay, Red, you're here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to make a quick
okay.
sidestep.
Okay.
About dumbing down and wising up.
Okay.
We can all remember that when we had the first sat-nav or TomTom in our cars, it was very handy. But people listened so good to these devices that they stopped thinking for themselves. Right? If there was like a roadblock or whatever, they just went straight ahead. Even we had like in the newspapers, people say like, oh, it says go right, and they drove right into the river. It was like the people stopped thinking for themselves. Now I saw this commercial you made with the webcam and all. First of all, I'm very against the webcams because they work two ways. If they can see it, someone else can see it as well. It's a bit of truth. So it's a privacy intrusion.
Okay.
I think those things should be forbidden, in my opinion.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
There's no one who says I'm filming you.
You've got one of my topics. That's why I'm laughing. Okay, go ahead. I agree. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
So those
I'm
those
also one of those.
But you mentioned two things. One of them is that people stop thinking. And the second thing is the privacy. Is that what you're saying your two things are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You picked the two things that I saw. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to see how people feel about that because, the question is, are people thinking about it? And if they are they willing to give way to that in order for the convenience and for what they feel the benefits of it? Are they willing to compromise those areas, right? Because,
well, if you have convenience, you're not going to learn from a lot.
Okay.
Because it doesn't incentivize you to learn things from experience.
Okay.
Like we all played pool, you and me, I guess. We learn from how we have to shoot the ball, and eventually we did it pretty well.
Okay.
If you ask someone every time. You don't learn from it because you don't make a mistake and you don't know how to hold the curry, as we say it.
Okay.
And then nothing happens.
Okay.
In the learning department.
Okay.
So I think that's a big thing. I think people are more tools of the technology than the other ways around. If that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, Red. Thank you much.
Yes.
All right, let me bring in Fist to Face next. Let's see what he has to say. Hey, Fist.
Hey, Griff.
Fist, you a young whippersnapper. Come on, tell me. You love this, right?
No, I don't. Man, let me tell you something. When I first saw the camera phones and that stuff rose, Griff, I literally watched a girl in her house, and I'm no kidding. Pops is coming in right behind me. We watched this girl in her house. The house caught on fire. Her first reaction is to videotape.
Videotape it. Yeah. Okay.
Videotape it and say, "Oh my God, what should I do?"
Okay.
Said, "Oh my goodness, you can't be serious." But you know, when I saw this and I'm looking at, because I've seen the Ray-Ban commercial, the glasses, and I was like, "What is this?" And you know, it's like, "Yeah, it is." You know, tell me to shoot this shot. I was like, "Man, let me tell you something. If somebody walk into a drug deal or a mob boss's office with these on, this is a new way of wearing a wire. This is a new way of wearing a wire."
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm not for it, man. Because if you see somebody with these on in a bathroom, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's gonna be a problem.
Okay. But you know that there will be people who just accidentally, I mean, they're not trying to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They listen to their music and they walk in the bathroom and they literally forget, right? That, you know, I got the glasses on. There will be some people that might just say, "Hey dude, you know, take your glasses off." Or there may be somebody who literally just reacts, right? You standing at the urinal and a dude, you know, comes over
and he looked over, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be
okay. So let's go back to this conversation about, and get Pops in here in a second, about, because Red gave me his feelings about wising up or dumbing down, right? You know, it's no different than if the girlfriend is standing next to her boyfriend and says, "Hey, baby, which shot should I take?" Right? But right, and you know, we don't think anything about that. You know, nobody gonna say, "Oh, girl, shut up and figure it out yourself." You know what I'm saying? So, is there a difference between that interaction versus, you know, Meta? Which shot should I take?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, okay, that part was not really so bad to me. You know what I mean? Chat GPT and AI, it wasn't a bad thing for me. Like, okay, let me go to something that's even more personal. Okay, with the AI music, right? AI music, I don't think AI music is a bad thing in a sense of giving yourself an inspiration to something. But for me, as a musician, to use AI and to say, "Hey, I typed in a bunch of prompts and this spit out a song," right? I'm now a producer. Hell no, you're not. I'm being real with you, because there's an art form, there's a craft, there's a skill, there's decades of working and understanding the language of music. You know, for you to spit in, okay, I want a country song that sounds with Snoop Dogg rapping over it, and it spits it back to you. You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, now all of a sudden you are a a Grammy-winning nominated artist or producer? No. Now, if you used it to inspire you, you know what I'm saying? Say, okay, you know what? I like how that arrangement went. I like how that kind of that melody. Maybe let me build off of that. You know what I'm saying? That's different. You know, that's different. That's like how I see with some of the people in the art sector or CG or the CG sector. You know, they see it and they say, okay, you know what? That kind of inspires me to think about something, and then they go in and they start, doing whatever they got to do.
Yeah.
But for it to solely be, hey, like you said, hey, Meta, tell me to get up today.
Yeah. Well, let me read something Maddie Bear says. And Maddie, thank you for putting this in. So that said, there are devices that companies can buy that can disable certain features on devices. I know this for sure because when I was with my dad on his truck, we went to a warehouse that had autonomous forklifts and we weren't allowed to take pics. I couldn't even open my cam app up on my phone. I know that was device blocking it because the moment I went outside, I was able to open my cam app just fine. Right. So that's interesting perspective. If technology will create technology, right, or demand that there's some technology to counter under certain circumstances, such as privacy, right? But like, listen, and I'm using this as a believe me, I'm just being funny, y'all, when I say this. But imagine somebody went to one of P. Diddy's parties, right? He's got the glasses on, right?
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be P. Diddy. It could be anybody's party. Right. It could be some party that somebody gets drunk, right, and maybe acts a certain kind of way. There's a dynamic of privacy that I'm curious about that has to do with something that is being done covertly versus in the open, right? If I take out my cell phone and I do it in the open, that's another thing. There's another thing when you just tap the side of your glasses, nobody knows that you're recording, and you've done something in a space that other people may consider a private space, right? I think with the AI thing, and here's my thing about AI and the technology, and it's the fact that I think that AI could be a learning tool. In other words, to your point, I want to do a song. I have a feeling like I want to do this country song, but I really don't know country that well. So I want to throw a country thing to it. But I use that as a platform for me to learn. Right. It'd be no different than if I were to sit in the room with a producer and some other musicians and I don't know country, but I sit there with them and I learn certain chord progressions or things like that. Right. I can learn from the AI. I can learn from my boyfriend who says, honey, which shot should I take? Right. Now, my boyfriend may say, shoot the one on the left. My boyfriend may also say, girl, you figure it out. Right. That's two real scenarios that a boyfriend could do, right? And in both those situations, they could be learning. One is experiential, like Red said, right? And the other one is someone who's helping guide you, but that boyfriend isn't going to be there all the time. With the AI situation, my concern is that the AI is there all the time, and there becomes a dependency.
And dependent upon it. Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing that I worry about is the dependency. Now, some people will look at dependency and say, now, let me finish this up real quick. Okay. Some people will look at dependency as a way of I'll let the AI do the rudimentary stuff so I can focus in on the bigger things. Right. But for me, and I could be wrong, Chad, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I think that in order for you to work on the bigger things, you still need to know the foundational things. And my concern is that if you completely let go of understanding the foundations, you can't truly build on something. That's my feeling.
Now, I got to push back on something. Somebody made a comment in chat. I don't know. I'm sorry for butchering your name. Karsten Croft, Kristen says, if AI can write a script, it will be able to write a song. Okay. You can write a song out, right, in a format, but you know what AI cannot do? It cannot write emotions.
That's an interesting perspective. And I get what you're saying as a musician. My concern is that the line between emotion that you're talking about that is very organic and what comes off as emotion are blurring more and more. Like, I'll give you an example. I can say, man, that song's got a serious beat. And that could mean two things. It could mean either it's just got a really deep beat or it's actually written in such a way that it's an amazing song. And there are times when people say, oh man, look, that song's got a beat. I don't know if people are just responding to the beat literally or responding to the music. Okay. And so I'm not sure if that line is so distinctive as it used to be back in the day. Like if we were to talk about certain artists and certain people who did this, that, and the other, I think there are people who don't feel that thing that you and I would be talking about if they listen to that music now. I think that it has become a blurred thing. I think that because there are people who have experienced music from a certain what's the word I want to say? You know, there's a difference between when you go to an intimate club and listen to an artist and when you go to a stadium.
Right.
Okay. And a lot of people have never been in intimate situations, like one-on-one situations with music. A lot of people have just been in large scale things, and that's what they know. And so their sensing of music is gauged on that scenario, right? When you sit into a small club situation or a situation and you hear an intimate conversation with a musician and why they wrote a song and blah, 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 all those things start to mean more about the music. And I'm saying because that happens less and less these days, I'm not sure if there's going to be a way to distinguish it anymore. That's what my concern is.
I'm not saying AI is getting better.
It is getting better.
Yeah, you can prompt AI and say, okay, yeah, write sad, write upbeat, or like you know, Kirsten is responding.
Yeah.
But let me say this: when you listen to a pianist, right, and I listen to Jeff Lober, and I listen to Lee Ritenour on the guitar, right.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between you prompting an AI to say, play me a guitar piece versus Jeff or Lee Ritenour playing a guitar piece, they could play the same line.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what the difference is that Lee Ritenour will do?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't recognize this, is that when you put that emotion into it, a lot of emotions comes into the articulation.
Okay, but see you just said and validated my point. Some people don't hear it. And I'm saying because music is changing more and more and more, people distinguishing it. And even though the AI is starting to become more and more nuanced and moving closer to it, I think that the two are going to get to a point where you cannot distinguish them anymore. That's just me. You said it yourself. Some people don't hear it. And that's it. Okay. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think... I mean, you know, it's an art. Anytime it comes to anything artistic, it's always a huge discussion, right? Because artists feel a certain way, even if they embrace the technology. Look, we always do. We always do.
As I said before, I read a book a long time ago by Kashif.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows Kashif, back in the day, he was a songwriter for Whitney Houston, all of them, right? He said it in the book when you know, when digital age of music and things like that came about, people were scared.
Mm-hmm.
People were scared of it because it eliminated, like, for example, your drum machine. Drummers were scared.
Right. They thought it was going to threaten. It's going to threaten
to eliminate studio session drummers.
Right.
Right. But there's always a drawback to a drum machine. Right. You know, versus a real drummer.
Yep.
You know,
but there are drawbacks to real drummers.
Right. There's always is going to be, right? Yeah. He gonna show up.
It's both sides, right?
He might show up with you know, half there, half whatever. Might show up drunk. You don't know. I mean, you know, whatever. But you know, it's always that thing. But I just my thing is just that from right now, just what I'm saying is just that from listening to AI, as far as you know, this stuff that we see, you know, it's just, you know. The one thing, though, that and
make it the one thing. I gotta get Pops in here. I've had Pops waiting for.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, this is my last thing. That you sometimes you can lose the humanity in something.
Well, we've been losing humanity in a lot of stuff. That's my point.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why you know why I do this, though, Griffin. This is my last thing. I listened to this morning, "Hold Tight" by Change. Because that's what I'm holding on to is my humanity in music.
I ain't pissed. I'll see you later. All right, let me get Pops in here real quick so we can get ready to wrap this up. Hey, Pops.
Hey.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. All right, I'm going to make mine really quick.
You're okay.
All right. I got to go get me some new glasses now. Number one. Okay. Number two. This ain't nothing but a Moby glass. The Moby glass 2.0.
This on your face, huh? This on your face, huh?
Yeah, it's just a Moby glass. They're going to come out with Ray-Bans for mining, for doctors, police, you know. So just be ready. That's all. We're just getting ready. That's it. All right?
So let me ask you a question. Do you feel that this is wising us up, dumbing us down, somewhere in between? You know, yeah, I see how it benefits us and how it's a good thing for society. Do you feel like, I don't know, this might be going a little bit too far? Or do you feel like as long as they keep an eye on it?
oh man, what was it? Red came in, and the first thing I agree with both of you. The first thing I saw when the thing told her what ball to hit, I was like, oh hell no. I was like,
Okay.
But and I'm gonna say this is a personal thing for me. With my age, I'm kind of losing a little bit of my memory, my ability to remember things short term. So something like this would be an aid for me. So good and bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's always it, right? Technology in and of itself is not, like I mentioned this at the beginning, right? It's not technology that's good or bad. It's what people do with it, right? The people who are behind it. What are the motivations behind it? And you can see how this would be beneficial for people, helpful for people. The whole idea of not having to just, always have to take your phone out to do something, right? But you could just, or just listening to music, if it's nothing more than that. And what the cool thing about the Ray-Bans is that you get them in prescription. So you can get them as regular glasses, or you can get them as shaded glasses, whatever you want. This is one of the first real early entry level consumer type of things that they're pulling together. There are some other ones that I'll put in the technology channel in Discord earlier that get into AR and a bunch of other things that get much, much deeper. And you could see that this is kind of like the low end. I don't know if you remember when VR first came out, they would have these like little $20, $30 cheap versions of it, and you would take your cell phone and put it inside the glasses. It was like a cheap man's way of doing VR. Yeah. Okay, well this is kind of like the cheap man's version or woman's version of AR glasses, or like you said, moving from your cell phone to your face. It's going to get deeper than this and go further than this. The AR stuff is amazing that's out there now. It's like that hybrid between VR and what we're seeing on like this level is somewhere in between there, where they're bringing those two worlds together. I did look at this from a slick marketing perspective, using a celebrity, using a party sequence, using somebody who's DJing music, because obviously we see the demographic that they're pointing this toward, right? And again, this could be very positive technology that moves us forward. But at the same time, I do have my feelings of caution, and I worry about the big corporations and businesses who don't care about the dumbing down of our people. They just want to be able to sell a product. And we've seen that with other things that they've done, where we have embraced them so quickly, but not always paid attention to what is the impact. Doesn't mean that it means get rid of it. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying making sure that it's put into society in a good and healthy way, more than anything. That's all I'm saying, because again, it's not the technology. It's the people that, who use it and how they use it that becomes the real problem. So, all right, there.
Two things I'm going to jump
on,
Griff.
Sure.
Okay. Now, first of all, we all going to be calling each other Four Eyes. we all get me, so that word's going to disappear. Number two, don't be so fearful of these, because you got to wait till when they come out with the contact lens version.
Yeah. Which they do have, by the way. DK Wildcat, thank you so much for that sub, 30 months. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, they actually do have already contact lenses. I saw those like a year or two ago. And, it was all in still testing. They're still testing that stuff. It's not out on the market yet. But these, I think Fast Card or somebody put it in chat that these are like only $300, something like that. And again, instead of walking around with a VR headset on your head, this is actually kind of cool. I saw a review on these where somebody said that they're the one thing that didn't make sense, which doesn't make sense to me either, is that they put the camera on the side instead of dead center. I don't get why they did that either, because when you watch the person's photos that they took with it, the pictures are always offset. They're not dead centered. The camera's not, because even if they turn the camera this way, you'd have a slant to it. It wouldn't be correct. So why they didn't put the thing right here in the center is beyond me, because it seems like there's room for it. But anyway, I'm curious about them, and I'm curious to see what the next generation version of them will be like. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the battery is in the frame, and they charge in the case when you put them in the case. So they're pretty cool. But anyway, appreciate you dropping in, Pops. Thanks for closing us out today, brother. All right. Pops says we're all going to be called Four Eyes. That's interesting. Okay. Well, let's wrap this thing up, gang, for today. I want to say thank you to everybody who came in for our subject today of meshing up. I hope you guys I hope that people are having better luck with downloading 4.0. I know some people, including myself, had problems with it. I was at the very end of the download and I got a crash. I know Colossal told us earlier there was some situations going on with the website, which might have been part of the problem. But if you guys get into 4.0, get in there, test it. Those of you in Wave 1, do all you can. Yeah, it's going to be frustrating. We know there's some stuff there that's not there, but yeah, we want to get you guys into the game and get in there and start testing it so we can get it out to everybody else. Video audio was loud. Okay, well, I'm sorry, Fast Card. I didn't see that till now, but thank you for the info for the raid. All righty, let's see. Let's talk about today. Today is PodSat Saturday, as you guys know. On Saturdays, we partner with other Star Citizen content creators, in particular, Paul Shelley at the Astro Pub, and also the guys at Relay. Paul Shelley is on right now, and we're going to be sending you over to him as we set up our raid. So when you get over to Paul's channel, make sure that you give him a shout. Let him know that you came over from Soul Voices, and give him some love. Paul's been a hard-working person out in the community for us for a very, very long time. And we want to give some love to him this afternoon. I'm sure he'll be doing Captain's Table this afternoon with all that's going on, but I'm sure he's also looking at 4.0. So check in with him. After that, we will be going over to Relay, the guys at Relay, the OGs of Star Citizen, who've been streaming for a very, very long time. Wonderful group of guys over there. And I'd love to hear what their thoughts are. They've been around a long time waiting for this as well. So tonight, I'm going to try and tune in and listen to hear what they have to say as well. I want to say special thanks to before I get into that, let me talk about tomorrow's show. Tomorrow, Soul Citizens, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be doing our final sessions from CitizenCon 2954. The Captains of Industry and The Stars, My Destination. Those last two, probably the two sessions that everybody was really interested in more than anything. The one on ships and the one on the future of the game. Tomorrow we're going to have Captain Jones, Fastcart, and Gomab ATL are going to be talking about that and reviewing it. And hope you guys will sit in with us. As you know, whenever we watch these episodes, you watch them again, you take more stuff in. And I'm looking forward to hearing their thoughts on what those last two sessions were like for CitizenCon. So hopefully you guys will join us tomorrow after that. I don't have the flyer up here yet, and I don't know why I didn't put it up here. But for those of you who, let me see if I can get it real quick. Bear with me, gang. Bear with me. Events. We have a virtual bar citizen coming up. Excuse me 1 second, guys. I have to do a little digging here because I didn't download the graphic for some crazy reason. We have a virtual bar citizen coming up on Saturday, November the 30th. Give me 1 second. Save here. Close this. Please be patient with me. I'm almost there, guys. I'm almost there. I have to download the flyer, but the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to put the barcode up for you guys. For those of you who are interested in participating, those of you who've been there before, you guys know what the virtual bar citizen is. We haven't done one since last year. I think it was for IAE last year that we did this, and so we've got one coming up this year. Oh, smart selection. All right, here we go. I'm selecting it, and kaboom! Didn't come up. Why didn't it come up? Give me a second here, guys. Why didn't that come up? It's on the screen, but it didn't show. Okay, give me 1 more second. I'm gonna try one more time. Don't know why it didn't show. Capture, smart selection. I wonder if there's a bug in my software because no, it's not coming up. All right, I don't know why this isn't coming up, you all, but let me do it a different way. This is ridiculous. Image, download, there. All right, there it is. I'm gonna put it on full screen for you guys. There's the QR code. That'll be on November 30th. Virtual Bar Citizen is where we basically have a Bar Citizen online. We do it on Zoom. We have folks from all over the globe. We've had folks from Germany, UK, Australia, Japan, even, of course, Canada, South America, US, that have joined us for these events. And so that's going to be on November 30th. There'll be 2 sessions. One will start at, oh God, that should say 11 a.m. Oh my God, I didn't catch that on the flyer, Fast Card. I got to change it. 11 a.m. God, no wonder. That's so off. How did I do that? Anyway, 11 a.m. is for 4 hours. Okay. And we're going to be discussing both CitizenCon and IAE. Then there's a later one in the afternoon. If you want to come back later in the day or later that night, whatever works for you, that'll be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Those are Eastern times, US. Check out that barcode. You have to register to be able to come to it. You get a link for it that'll tell you where to go. And I have got to fix that flyer. I'm surprised nobody caught that. Hopefully you guys will be able to come along and join us for that as well. Okay, so we'll be looking forward to that. Other than that, I think that is it. We are getting ready to send you guys over to Paul Shelley, the captain's table. I see he is setting up for that right now. So I want to say thank you to everybody who dropped in today, those of you who shared so much stuff in the chat. We always appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts. You got to come in and talk to me. I'd love to have you guys come in and talk to me, but we also appreciate you guys putting things in the chat. And I think that's it. We're going to send you over to Paul Shelley with the captain's table. Don't forget, see us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time for our final show on CitizenCon session 6 and 7. And for those of you who are here, we're going to be doing a giveaway tomorrow. So make sure you be here for that too. Okay. Other than that, we're going to send you over to Paul Shelley. And as always, I want to tell you guys, take care of yourselves, stay safe, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you later. Ciao.